closer.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now call the City Council regular meeting in City Council chambers at 389 Spruce Street, Morgantown, West Virginia, 26505 on Tuesday, September 17, 2024 at 7:11 p.m. due to the technical difficulties. So those watching on YouTube, we apologize for the delay that we're being broadcasted over. To order, if the clerk would please take roll.
Yes. Bill Kowacki?
Here.
Weezy Michael?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Here.
Danielle Trumbull?
Here.
Dave Harshbarger?
Here.
Brian Butcher? Mayor Abu-Ghanem?
Present. All right, thank you. First, we have the approval of the minutes, September 3rd, 2024 special meeting minutes, as well as September 3rd, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
No change.
Move to approve.
I was able to review. I don't have any
Yeah.
change.
Move to approve.
Yep.
Second?
Hmm?
By acclamation?
Yep.
Good, all right. Correspondence. First, we have the All-Star Community Award for Fire Prevention and Education Program with our Deputy Fire Marshal, Andrew Dotson. If you want to come up to the podium. And for those watching at home, actually, I'll give an explanation. I was given instruction that we're supposed to stand here on this side. All right. For those watching at home that are not aware, this past August 20th, I believe was the date, we had the opportunity to be awarded through the West Virginia Municipal League the All-Star Community Award. And the little write-up that they had about us was the city of Morgantown, and it was August 6th, I apologize. The city of Morgantown is awarded in the category of cost savings. For over the past 20 years, the Morgantown community has experienced many minor and several educational outreach. The Fire Prevention and Education Program, a proactive effort to enhance the safety and well-being of our community, continues to provide our community with the tools they need to prevent fires, resulting in fewer fire-related incidents. Deputy Fire Marshal Andrew Dotson has been the catalyst for this successful program, for which we thank you. By educating the community about common fire hazards and the importance of fire safety practices in homes and businesses, the program works to reduce economic loss and minimize the environmental impact caused by fires, and also additionally, most importantly, it also saves lives. The program provides educational workshops, free home and business fire inspections, public awareness campaigns, and youth engagement programs. Since its inception, it has reached over 40,000 residents, both adults and children. Lowering the number of fires directly reduces the risk of civilian and firefighter deaths and injuries, preserves property values, and contributes to the overall health and vitality of the community, making it a positive economic driver. So first off, on behalf of the City Council, I'd like to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
And then for those watching at home, would you like to tell us about your program?
Oh, I can. First, I feel a little bit selfish being the person in the spotlight right now. This is truly a group effort from council members, city administration, fire department administration, the guys on the trucks. I don't do this by myself. It is completely a group effort. So I will accept this, but only in the name of our group here at the city, because we have a wonderful program and it really touches lives and does save lives. So we're very grateful for the opportunities that were given by the people I mentioned just a few seconds ago. All right.
Do we want to get, can we have a group photo? If everyone would be so kind.
Sure.
And then in the group photo, you'll have to represent the whole community. That's okay. And then after that, if you'd like to talk about it.
Yeah, if we're just kicking off another program. I'll talk briefly on.
That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much.
You all scooch back just a bit. Yeah, thank you.
2, 3. Wonderful photo. Great. Thank you so much.
President, do you want to, I guess, switch directions? Now you walk to us and you can hear all about this.
Sure. I'll speak just briefly about the things we do. I've been running this program for close to 14 years. I've been fortunate enough to be employed with the City of Morgantown for 19 years this month. So I'm looking forward to doing this for a little bit longer and handing it off to somebody more capable than me that can get out there and do these things. But we're in the schools every year. We're kicking off a new program that we've started to where we're reaching out to the public to reach the community in their homes. So I can sit here and talk and we can put stuff on social media, but until we're shaking hands and seeing faces and looking at their houses and what they're living in, that's when we really make a difference. So the fire department offers free fire safety visits. It's not an inspection. It's just we come into their homes with approval from the residents, of the homeowners, and we will come through and do a complete fire safety visit in the homes. We provide smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms if they don't have any, or if they're not capable of giving them, we will put them up for those residents at that time. So it's a really awesome program. I'm excited to bring it back out and knock the dust off of it and get it up and rolling again. It was in our social media outreach this week, so it should start ramping up. As we all know, the second week of October is Fire Safety Week, and we really just are trying to hit in on those smoke alarms and to be sure everybody has working, functioning smoke alarms because they do truly save lives.
I know you said it was on the social media. Can you elaborate on which platform and how
So
we can
it's
find it?
so the communications department takes care of all that stuff for me. So Miss Holly takes care of everything. I send her a weekly blast, and she puts it out on what I'm assuming is all the social media the city has, like I guess it's X now and the Facebook. I don't use social media a lot, so Miss Holly takes care of all that stuff for me. I just send her an email and she puts it out there.
All right. Any other questions?
No, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for the
you.
time, and thank you for allowing me to accept this only on behalf of all of us.
Everybody appreciates.
And then just real quick, I ask one more time, is there anyone here from the West Virginia Council of International Programs? No? We'll move that.
Have a quick
Oh.
quote from our interim chief here.
We got the round of applause, and I felt like that was my cue, so I apologize for interrupting.
That's okay. I was just following the cue over here. I'm John Lemley. I'm the interim fire chief following the retirement of Eugene Dean. I'm here to request of the city clerk this evening to give you a short update on our hiring process. We are beginning a new hiring list that will start out with open houses for the purpose of any interested applicants testing or trying out the different physical agility stations. Those open houses will be held Saturday, October 5th, Sunday, October 20th, and then the actual agility test will be held on November 6th. The written exam will follow on December 5th. Anybody that's interested in checking those things out or participating in the testing and have any questions can contact the city clerk's office at C Wade, that's C-W-A-D-E, at morgantownwv.gov, or at 304-284-7434. You guys have any questions about it?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Where is this agility test so I can?
The agility test, the venue will be held at the North Side Fire Station at 1000 Van Voorst Road.
Do you have to fill out any sort of waivers or anything?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Do you have to fill out any sort of waivers, or do I have to?
Yeah, there's a
ask
waiver
physical?
that can be taken care of, and that all can be, those questions can all be answered through the city clerk's office. Yes.
Do you want to give folks an idea of what they may expect? Or why it's important to attend one of these open houses if
Oh,
you're
yeah, that's a
interested in
good,
being a
good
firefighter?
question. So when we first moved to the new agility test method, we had a high proportion or high percentage of failures. So following other cities around the nation, we thought it'd be prudent to offer these open house events. It's not an open house that you might think of in real estate. It's the opportunity to come in and actually look at the process and sample any of the physical agility testing stations. There's a stair climber, there's weighted vest, there's a hose drag, dragging a mannequin, and swinging a hammer, striking a steel beam. All these are occupational requirements as a firefighter, and this just is a sample of all that. So it's fairly strenuous, and by offering open houses ahead of the actual physical agility test, we've increased the percentage of people passing the exam. So we're just trying to help out interested people that may not have experienced it before to have a chance to practice and have some higher level of success.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Did you say the time by chance?
For the first open house, Saturday, October 5th, that's at 10:30 in the morning. The second open house is 1 p.m. on Sunday, October 20th. I apologize, the agility test,
It's 9 a.m.
9 a.m. on November 6th. And the written test is 6 p.m. on December 5th.
Agility exam is November 2nd.
Sorry, November
Yes,
2nd.
9 a.m. and the written exam is 6 p.m. on December 5th.
Those interested applicants that successfully complete the actual physical agility test, at the end of the completing that exam, then they will be given a study book to bring home with them to study for about 30 days from the end of the agility test before the written test. Once again, they have all the tools at their fingertips to ensure their success. Anything else?
Good to know.
I'm excited to try it.
Good.
Am I allowed to try it?
Sir?
Am I allowed to do the 10?
Yes, sir. Come over. Absolutely.
Challenge you, Bill.
Anybody that's interested in sampling that, absolutely. We encourage it, and we like to have those opportunities. Well, we took Emily to the burn building in Clarksburg, and she went through the hands-on training down there.
Did not catch on fire.
So we can offer that to anybody that's interested in doing that. Absolutely.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you.
Is there any other questions? Are there any other questions?
Danielle, do you have any questions? All right. Okay.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right. Before I got ahead of myself, back. So the West Virginia Council of International Programs Day proclamation, nobody is in attendance, so we will just move that to committee of the whole if they're here to accept. If that's okay with everyone? Okay. So we have someone present for that? All right. That ends our correspondence. Now we move on to our public hearings. Right now we have an ordinance authorizing the acquisition, equipping, and construction of certain additions, betterments, and improvements to the existing Cheat Lake sewage treatment plant and collection systems, and recognizing the sewage rates and charges necessary to repay revenue bonds to be issued by the city to finance a portion of the cost of such improvements. I will open this public hearing now. Anybody wishes to speak on this?
Yeah, somebody else had signed it before me, so.
That was probably for the public
Okay,
itself.
I just
Yep.
didn't want to cut the line, not being a smart aleck.
Oh, no. All we ask is your name and address, please.
Sir?
Your name and address.
Sure. My name is Lee Terrace. I live at 4001 Shady Brook Circle in Morgantown, 26508, so Cheat Lake. So I first became aware that MUB was considering this project probably a year and a half ago, and here we are. And I have to tell you, I was very disturbed to receive a letter in my mailbox telling me that to pay for this project, both my water and sewage rates would double. I am not exaggerating, it is a 100% increase to today's costs. I find that completely unacceptable. I'd further like to say, as I understand it, one of the main reasons for this project is because of the growth in Cheat Lake. To which I say, I didn't invite you. So effectively, people moved into our neighborhood, we grew, and now the thanks we get is we get to pay for that. That's not right. Furthermore, I would like to point out that in the letter stating the doubling of all of our costs, there is no timeline attached to it. So this is a doubling of cost in perpetuity. Now, we all deal with inflation every day, right? You go into a grocery store, things cost more than they did a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm not stuck in 1954. Wasn't even alive then. Point being, while we all expect costs to rise, and we expect clean water and sewage, and I do thank MUD for that. Quality of product, no problem. I do think it completely unreasonable to ask for a doubling of cost and to ask for it in perpetuity. If any of you have ever financed a car or a house or anything, it has a finite timeline. In a house, oftentimes that's even 30 years, sometimes 15. I've actually bought one on 5 in the past town I lived in. All this to say, everything you ever financed had a finite timeline. This does not. And oh, by the way, to add insult to injury, I think it's reasonable to say everybody in this room would be of the belief that we are never going to get an increase again in our lifetimes from MUB. That's silly. Of course we will get increases. So I ask the open question, how long do you expect me to pay for one project? Indefinitely is a completely unacceptable answer. So I would urge that as you consider this, that bluntly you vote against it until we get some more transparency, we get a finite definition of our timeline, and bluntly pass the cost to people that are moving into the area causing the need for the project. If I invited you to my house for a party, you should expect me to pay for the food, the drink, whatever, the party favors. But if you just show up at my house, you eat my food, you drink my beverages, you trash my house, and then give me a bill to clean it up, sorry, unacceptable. I appreciate you hearing me out. I'm really not as crazy as I seem, but I cannot imagine anybody in this room financing anything in perpetuity without a finite timeline and a schedule when things are paid off and your rate goes back to nothing. When you buy that house and you've paid it off, the bill goes away. That is not what is happening here. So I strongly urge you to vote against it without A, transparency, and B, finite timelines, and C, reasonable cost expectations. A doubling of cost is unreasonable. A doubling of cost in perpetuity is more unreasonable. And to give me the bill for growth I didn't ask for is ludicrous. Give you one real quick example and I'll stop talking. I lived in Florida for a while. First time I moved there, I got hit for a $300 charge for what they call new wheels on the road. What they did is when you registered a car the first time in Florida, they effectively said, you have come into our state, so we will need to do more maintenance on the roads because effectively more miles will be driven on them. Your share is $300. You weren't invited, but you're welcome. Here's your bill. That is what I would like to see happen here. Those that come into the area should pay for it. And at the very least, we should not be seeing a doubling of our rate, much less in perpetuity. Thank you for humoring me. If anybody has any questions, if I've been unclear, I am happy to clarify.
During this portion, we don't go back and forth. But thank
As you can tell, I'm new here.
And
Thank
welcome,
you.
though.
I do appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right. Would anybody else like to speak on this ordinance?
Good evening. My name is Scott Owen. I live at 434 Arabella Court here in Morgantown. I won't be long. I just like this gentleman said, I was a little shocked when I got the letter seeing that my sewage rate was going to double. And I just want to be clear, I think it was just the sewer that was increasing, not the actual water cost?
No, sir.
Okay, well, I could be wrong. Yeah, none of us are getting any raises, where we work. So it is a little disheartening to see such an increase. I would be fine if there was some increase. It's understandable. I work in construction. I know things, they cost a lot. But it's a pretty significant hike. And for example, my bill, and I consider myself to be a pretty moderate user of water. I don't squander it. I would guesstimate that my bill is going to increase by probably $100 every 2 months. And that's a pretty big hit. So I just wanted to see if there was any other way to soften the blow here a little bit, maybe not hit us so significantly. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else like to speak at this time? All right, I'm going to then close the public portion. So now we are on to our unfinished business. First, we have the consideration of approval, that is the second reading of an ordinance authorizing the acquisition, equipping, and construction of certain additions, betterments, and improvements to the existing Cheat Lake sewage treatment plant and collection system, and recognizing the sewage rates and charges necessary to repay revenue bonds to be issued by the city to finance a portion of the cost of such improvements. The first reading was September 3rd, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, discussion, and
Yeah,
anyone?
I wanted to, I know we have MUB here that might be helpful to answer some questions that were raised, if that would be all right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to actually ask.
Yeah, let's see if MUB might come forward to help clarify maybe a couple of the questions that may have not been accurate.
Hi, good evening. I'm Mike McNulty, General Manager of the Morgantown Utility Board. So it is only the sewer rate that would increase.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yes.
Thank you. And the time, there is a timeline on the bonds, correct, in terms
Yes,
of the payoff?
it's a 30-year bond.
Thank you. So it's a sewer only 30-year bond.
But-
To clarify a couple of questions.
But we're not asking, right now MUB is not asking that it be removed after 30 years.
No.
It's just an increase.
It's an increase. It's to support the debt service over the next 30 years. And then when we get to the end of that 30 years, there would be whatever needed to be done at that time.
In the process for determining the rate increase, the bids for the construction of the wastewater treatment plant, could you just kind of quickly step us through how that process will work?
Yes, so on the 24th, we will open bids. And that's really what will tell the tale of the cost of the project and what the borrowing would look like and what the rates would look like. We did put out the letter notifying customers it could be up to a 100% increase in rates. We do that in case there's a bid overrun or it exceeds the opinion of cost from our engineers. And so we have to be prepared for that. But we do anticipate at least 91%.
And in terms of, excuse me, in terms of cost by comparison to other providers in West Virginia, my understanding is it's relatively in the middle.
There were about 38, 40 utilities that would have higher rates than what our our proposed rate is. One of the highest would be West Virginia American Water Company. Their rate runs about $83.68 a month. And so even at the 91%, we're looking at $67.97 for a 3,400 gallon usage.
Thank you.
I'll go to Councilor Trumbull, had her hand up.
Mike, when we have acquired other utilities previously at a higher rate, we have essentially told those customers that that rate would kind of be stalled until people in the Morgantown system were raised to that rate. Is that the case here, or can you tell me if they would be expecting incremental increases regularly, or?
Well, first I'd like to point out that the Cheat Lake rates have not been raised for 10 years. I think that's very important. Cheat Lake has its own cost of service. MUB stepped in, acquired the facility, the treatment plant, all the collection lines and so forth, and that provided service for the Lakeview Golf Course and hotel and those facilities, as well as Greystone. The system expanded over time, but as it grows, its capacity is eaten up. It gets to the point to where we are today that we have to expand it. And so because they have their own cost of service, we borrow those funds from West Virginia DEP, the State Revolving Fund Program. It's the Clean Water SRF is what it's referred to. Those customers pay back that debt, not Morgantown customers, because it is separate and apart.
Good.
I guess my question was, will they still be getting, I mean, in Morgantown, we have already planned out for the next several years what our rate increases will be annually. Will they stay at this rate for those 30 years, or can they still expect semi-regular increases on top of that?
I would say you can expect regular increases on top of it, because as power goes up, that's the largest expense we have next to debt service. Those costs would have to increase. Nothing's getting cheaper.
You'd mentioned the 3,400 gallon usage is where the number came from. Is that the average water use in Cheat Lake area?
That's the average that we are required to use in all of our applications with the State Infrastructure and Jobs Development Council. That's the statewide average.
Do you happen to know the average of the Cheat Lake?
I don't know the average of Cheat Lake right offhand, but we can find that information and get it back to council. But 3,400 is the amount that you use in all of your applications, and then when you're talking about increases.
Good.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yes, thank you.
Call for the question.
Bill Koecki,
Yes.
Wheezy Michael,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine,
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull,
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem.
Yes. Passes 6-0. Next, we have the consideration of approval of a second reading of an ordinance authorizing the acquisition and construction of addition, betterments, and improvements to the sewerage portion of the existing public combined waterworks, sewerage, and stormwater system of the city of Morgantown, and the financing of the cost thereof, not otherwise provided through the issuance by the city of not more than $45 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility systems revenue bonds, Series 2024, a West Virginia SRF program, and not more than $5 million in aggregate principal amount of combined utility service system revenue bonds, Series 2024B, West Virginia SRF program forgivable providing for the rights and remedies of and security for the registered owners of such bonds, authorizing the execution and delivery of all documents relating to the issuance of such bonds, approving, ratifying, and confirming a bond purchase agreement relating to such bonds, authorizing the sale and providing for the terms and provisions of such bonds, and adopting other provisions relating thereto. First reading, September 3rd, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second?
Discussion? Can I just get clarification on the two difference? We're just looking at bonds here?
This, and you can help me, City Attorney, but this is the funding of the project that's described in the previous, the previous ordinance we just passed.
Yes, thank you, Councilor and Mayor. This ordinance would authorize the sale of bonds to fund the project to expand the Cheat Lake wastewater treatment plant, as well as 2 pump stations as described in the bond ordinance. This is the second reading of the bond ordinance. Utility bond ordinances require 3 readings, so the public hearing on this bond ordinance and the presentation of the ordinance for adoption will occur at your next regular meeting on October 1st. The ordinance that Council just approved, of course, was the project authorizing ordinance. For any projects outside the ordinary course of business of the utility system, City Council has the obligation under state law to review those projects and approve them. And part of that is a consideration of any increase in rates that may be necessary to fund the project. In this transaction, once those bids come in, as the general manager indicated, and once the bonds are authorized, Council will also take up, or will be presented with by MUB, a rate ordinance to actually establish or consider those specific rates that would fund the bonds and the project.
So we'll have a third reading. Is the
Yes,
big takeaway.
that's
That's
a much
the
better
big
way to say
takeaway.
it.
You got the kernel of it.
That's, all right. Any discussion? Otherwise?
No.
Just appreciate that MUB is taking care of the people in our service area and figuring out ways to fund these projects. And I'm sure it's frustrating when someone's rates go up, and we all feel for that because we don't like it when our rates go up, but it's kind of part of how you make your community better is to have these large-scale projects and take care of our utilities. So appreciate MUB's work and appreciate people who bothered to nicely come today and ask that their rates not be increased, but it's hard to pass on rates to people who come into the community. It's more likely spread amongst the members of the community. So here we are.
Yes. Bill Glecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Tremble?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Yes, passes 6-0. Next we have boards and commissioners.
Yeah, any of us can.
Go for
I'm trying to look what we,
Well,
It's just
I
one.
could put forth a nomination for
Yeah.
Allied Schaub for the ICC Building Code Board of Appeals.
second.
it. By acclamation.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
We'd be foolish not to.
All right, next, we have the public portion, which shall be subject to the rules established by council and is adopted by resolution. Ms. Mazzarelli? All right. I now open the public portion. First, we had Chief John Brindley. He's gone. Lee Terrace, who I believe spoke. Next, we have Annie Cronin York, fresh from New York City. just got in. Boy, are my arms tired.
They are. And boy, is my credit card sorry, because those taxis are very expensive. I am here before you today because I know you'd miss me if I weren't. Not true. First, I want to apologize. Many people commented to me after the last meeting, didn't you just look comfortable? Because at midnight, I turned the chair sideways and put my feet up. And whilst I don't think I offended anybody up here, I'm apologizing anyway if it was untoward that I looked comfortable while just taking care of my kidney failure by keeping my feet up. But there were so many people who commented afterward who were either present at the meeting or saw it on TV that I thought I should apologize for being unseemly and looking unprofessional and comfortable. I'd also like you to address whether there's a eating in chambers policy or drinking, because there seemed to be a lot of that at the last meeting, and I was not sure if that is permitted or not. If there's no policy, that's fine, but just curious. Now on to the Human Rights Commission. Happily, our 7-person commission is now up to 4 people. We have a new person who will be starting with us on Thursday, Laura Fletcher, and she attended a meeting before having her interview with council, which the Human Rights Commission appreciates greatly. That is something that we're doing. We're having them come to one of our meetings before appointing them, because we've had several people drop off after meeting us once, and then they run away. So please keep that up. There are still 3 positions open, so anybody who lives inside the city limits has an interest in human rights and could stand to be around us for a little while. We'd appreciate you joining up. You can contact either the city clerk, her email's already been given out, or you can contact the Human Rights Commission at HRC at morgantownwv.gov. I get confused. As for what we are doing, I will announce that it is Hispanic Heritage Month, beginning 9:15 and ending at 10:15. We'll be doing a proclamation at the next meeting. We haven't written it yet. Sister Cities is joining us in the proclamation to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. 4.8%, I believe, 4.3% of Morgantown's population, according to 2020 census, is of Hispanic or Latino heritage. And it's important for us to include everybody under our city values policy. And so we try to recognize the groups who are not necessarily brought forward often. We also need nominations for an individual for the Human Rights Award, which we'll be giving out in December. We've got our organization nailed down, but the individual who we appointed to receive the award is withdrawn. And so if anybody on council or the general public would like to nominate anybody for doing extraordinary work to help human rights and civil rights in the city of Morgantown, I'd very much appreciate nominations. Yeah, we have a few ideas, but none of them are great yet. And again, HRC at morgantownwv.gov. And I get those emails and I read them. I failed to announce that the 2023 Municipal Equality Index, when the final scores came out at the end of last year, that Morgantown qualified as a Gold Star city for having an excellent record for being LGBTQ friendly. So our score was 110 out of 100, which is not bad, if I do say so myself. And don't hold me to it, but as near as I could tell by reading it, we were ranked somewhere around number 11 in the United States. And there are hundreds of cities participating. We had a much higher score than anybody in West Virginia. And we also outscored San Francisco and Seattle and a lot of other places that I thought would cream us. Detroit did better than we did, and 10 other cities, 9 other cities. Beyond that, I would beg the council, please get more comfortable chairs in here. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Annie.
Shane McManus, and Scott Owen.
They were here and they have left.
And anybody else wishing to speak? Close the public portion. Special committee reports we do not have. On to our consent agenda. We have the consideration or approval of a resolution in the City of Morgantown of West Virginia authorizing acceptance of grant funds in the Land and Water Conservation Fund and the construction of a bike pump track at Livermore Park, adopting all understandings and assurances contained in the grant documents, committing matching funds and appointing a program administrator, considerations of approval of a resolution authorizing application for Governor's Highway Safety Program grant, consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing a supplemental agreement with West Virginia Department of Transportation Division of Highways for Walnut Streetscape, and consideration of approval of bid call 2025-03 for bulk rock salt, and a consideration of approval of bid award 2025-04 for salt shed construction. Is there any of these items anybody would like moved to the new business for discussion?
I had a question on E. Can we remove that?
Move it to the new business? Yep. All right, so items A through D, minusing the salt shed construction. Do I have a?
Move to approve. Second.
Just wait if you take. Thank you.
Bill Koecki,
Yes.
Weezy Michael,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine,
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull,
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger,
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem,
Yes. A pass, 6-0. On to new business. I'm going to put E last. First, we have the consideration of approval of a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Mon County Commission for employment of animal control officer. I have a motion before we have discussion.
Yep.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All right. And Ms. Mazzarelli, would you like to tell us?
I'll
No,
take that
that's not
one.
you, that's Kim. I'm sorry.
Not a
I was looking
problem.
at the wrong.
I can guess, but.
The city of Morgantown has, rather than maintaining its own animal control services, has contracted with the Monongalia County for the provision of dog warden services. They have given us an agreement, IGA, intergovernmental agreement, that would require us to pay the commission a total of $35,624.10 for the 12 months beginning with October 1st. As I've gone back and reviewed the last, since 2016, our finance department provided this today. The amount that they're requesting is in line with what's been charged in the past. It's fluctuated. Sometimes we pay $40,000 to $41,000, sometimes $29,000, but it's right in that same ballpark. So it's our recommendation that this be approved. I checked with the police chief and others that have most occasion to utilize these services, and they felt that this program really functions well for the city.
All right.
I want to hear a public service announcement for using leash laws.
Well, I was getting ready to. I would like to take this moment to let people know that you can call the dog warden 24 hours a day, because we have public leash laws where you are required in city limits to have your dog on a leash. Jack Roberts Park struggles with this. And I say this as a plea because I have a very friendly dog, and a lot of people have very friendly dogs, but my dog does not like it when an unknown dog runs up to her. So for the safety of all involved, please keep your dog on a leash, or call the number, and they have signs posted all around the park in which you can call. please.
So we would be working in collaboration with the county using their shelter?
That's what we've been doing. How long has it been, he said?
Forever.
So is it
Long time.
Long time.
Or do we have to say it? Okay.
All right. Good?
Okay. Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Salee?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Mayor Abu Ghanem?
Yes. Passes 6-0. I think to answer your question, it's for the position
Yeah,
of dog
that's
warden, just to
Gotcha.
clarify.
Yeah, I thought so. Thank you.
All right. Next, we have the consideration of approval of first reading of an ordinance amending the fiscal year 24-25 annual budget of the city of Morgantown as shown in the revised budget attached here too and made part of the ordinance. And the same applies to the general fund. Look to our finance director, John. If this was a game show, I'd say come on down.
Happy to be here, but you don't need to hold me off until like everyone's left. I know what I do is boring, but it's not that bad. So what you have in front of you, that we have the proposed budget revisions. There are two of them because it involves two separate funds. The first one is the general fund budget revision. Now this is budget revision number 2. What this entails, overall combined, what we are accomplishing with both revisions is we are solidifying the financial support of the Monongalia County Development Authority Richwood Redevelopment Project. That's where the city of Morgantown is committing $500,000 to help support that Richwood redevelopment project. You all are very familiar with that, correct? That was part of the resolution that was passed back on August 20th, resolution number 24-22. This budget revision or revisions, this is the culmination of the actual moving of the money so that we can actually accomplish what you folks had already approved. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Awesome. So the first one that we have for the general fund, the revenue is basically going to be coming, or I shouldn't say the revenue, the money is going to be coming from two different sources. The first source, okay, for general fund is the additional municipal sales tax, general fund's portion. Okay, we all know that the municipal sales tax has been allocated into 4 separate buckets. This particular bucket is just general funds only. So this is the amount over and beyond how much was budgeted and received the last fiscal year for general fund. So we have $250,000 that's coming out of that bucket, if you will, which had already been received last year. And then the other half, so an additional $250,000 is going to be coming out of the general fund contingency budget. Okay, so the combination of those two, that's the $500,000, which will then be transferred over to our capital escrow fund, which is the more appropriate fund to facilitate this payment, if you will. So that's the first one. The second one, in capital projects, we're bringing in that $500,000 from general fund, and then we are also budgeting for the financial support of the Richwood redevelopment project. Pretty straight and simple. The only real difference here is, at least to me, is that it is in 2 different funds. That's why we do have 2 different revisions in front of you for consideration. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Just to clarify, and council already knows this, but I think it's important that this be reiterated, and that is, this is in conjunction with the county, who's participating in like manner, and it is secured with the possible purchase of real property. So it's not a straight-out contribution. It helps solidify the financing for the Richwood redevelopment project. And And this just gives the council and the city the assurance that that's going to happen. If not, then we end up with some real estate, which is, we feel is very equitable.
So will these funds be returned to the city if they're not needed to guarantee
Yes.
the project?
Absolutely, yes.
So that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Yep, this isn't, we're not throwing this money away. This basically is well, it's going to be committed towards that redevelopment, and if it all fails, we end up getting real estate, like the city manager said. So, yeah,
Actually, we'll
it's
get
a
it back
win-win
if
for
it
the city.
succeeds. Pardon. We'll get it back if it succeeds.
Absolutely. We hope that it does.
All right. Any other? Okay. No. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
Need a motion? Motion.
Oh, we didn't have a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Bill Koecki?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Salim?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Mayor Buganim?
Yes, passes 6-0. And last, we have the, from the consent agenda, which should move the consideration of approval of bid award 2504 for salt shed construction. And I look to city manager, or hold on, first I need a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
And I'm going to go to Emily instead. Assistant City Manager, Ms. Mazzarelli.
Thank you, Mayor. So we have been looking at ways to increase our efficiency whenever dealing with winter weather. And for several years now, we have been looking at alternative sites. Our main stockpile of salt is on Greenbag Road. And so, as you can imagine, especially during winter storms or times of heavier traffic, it takes quite a bit of time to get to the north side of town. And so we were able to successfully work with MUB and secure a location in conjunction with their treatment plant to put a salt shed, a satellite stockpile of salt on the north side of town. So we had previously purchased the materials directly for this storage shed, and then we're able to work with a consultant to actually design the foundations, and then this is actually the contractor building those foundations and putting it up. So this will allow us to service the north side of town much quicker, so we will keep salt there throughout the winter as well as a piece of equipment. So instead of taking the hour or so round trip by the time you run out of salt, drive all the way back to Greenbag Road, have to fill back up and get all the way back there before you are able to treat the roads on that side of town, it'll be closer to probably about a 15-minute turnaround time as opposed to an hour.
So this will be in Star City at the treatment place?
Yes, this will be kind of at the old 84 lumber site in Star City. We had looked at a number of places throughout town and just taking into consideration kind of what space was available, cost for land in that area, and just kind of understanding where this may be. We were able to successfully work with MUB and for property that's already in the city's name with working with MUB, and that was an area that wasn't really needed for them, so it was a win-win solution.
Is the property like guaranteed for a set time period if we're building on it that we'll be able to have a shed there?
You know, because it's kind of the property ownership between city and MUB, there's a lot of expansion that could happen to that sewage treatment plant before they would ever get to that side of the bridge. So it's kind of closer to actually where I think the big pole that says 84 lumber closer to the bridge is. So MUB felt confident that that would not be in any kind of near time future, and just looking at sometimes the lifespan of satellite salt storage buildings, they have a lifespan too. So probably by the time MUB would expand to there, we may that salt shed may have disintegrated from the salts.
Great, thank you.
Council, I was gonna go to Councilor Trumbull's machine
Yeah,
right
do.
now.
Location was my question. Emily gave plenty of detail. I am good now. Thank you.
I guess I just was concerned because that is a site that is near the water, and just to make sure that we do whatever is standard in the practice of keeping the salt from getting into the water.
Absolutely. Actually, our Greenbag Road salt location is actually still within the like level 1 spill response zone for drinking water. So very much when you design these, it's one of the benefits of this. And from where the direction of the rain comes in and how you can hump up the actual area from, elevate that, it all kind of helps with runoff and the equipment nowadays. And when you actually have a salt shed that is built for that, it's a lot easier to keep the salt undercover. It makes the salt work a lot better too. So, yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
It'll be kind of in between the bridge and another 84 lumber building. So
Yeah.
prior 84 lumber building. Well tucked away.
I assumed. I just couldn't resist mentioning it in case somebody else was thinking about that also.
Yeah, good point.
And this is funded through ARPA.
Very good.
So we,
I guess maybe I do have one other question. Will this be in use for this season?
That is the plan, to have that built and constructed to be able to use this winter season.
Wow.
So hopefully no Halloween snowstorms, but if we hold off to when we typically would get more snow late December, early January, that is, I believe, the goal, to have this up and running for this construction season. It's not that complicated of a building.
I'm sure it will be appreciated.
Yeah.
You'd be so kind?
Yes. Bill Quicky?
Yes.
Weezy Michael?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Celine?
Yes.
Danielle Trumbull?
Yes.
Dave Harshbarger?
Yes.
Mayor Buganum?
Yes, passes 6-0. And now to our city manager's report.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We all know that we struggle with the hiring of police officers in our community, as do most police departments and law enforcement departments that I'm aware of across the country. I'm pleased to announce that starting September 30th, we'll have 2 new hires. An additional one will be graduating from the academy on October 4th. Also would like to announce that the next date for testing for incoming officers is October 5th. We're hoping that we get a good response from that. We've attempted some different options. Our Human Resources Department has attempted several different options in the recruiting process, including a market out of Charleston and surrounding areas. So we're going to see if that pays off for us. But I know the police department and HR have really been working hard trying to find different markets that might be beneficial in recruiting and attracting good police officers. Another item I would update you on is staff and has spent a lot of time looking at the sheltering process. We had an opportunity to review and tour the old Bartlett House sheltering out at H3. I was impressed. I've been around a lot of shelters and residential kind of settings, and I was impressed with what's available out there. We had an opportunity to visit with the new executive director of that operation. Really impressed with her and her background and how she approaches things. So we're excited about that. They're on schedule to open October 1st, and we're hoping that everything is signed and even prior to that. during our discussion, and we're setting up a meeting within the next week or so with Catholic charities to try to determine other ways in which we might work together for additional services and sheltering and treatment centers and so forth. One of the things that we've talked to a number of people about is the issue of tiny homes that our illustrious mayor brought up a few council meetings ago, and certainly have felt a lot of support for that proposal and for his effort to try to create additional types of sheltering for the homeless population. So I'm encouraged with that whole process. We're certainly doing a lot of work on the outreach side and making sure to stabilize the process and the services that will be needed for the outreach portion of that. Finally, we held our second major meeting today on marketing the airport with a new carrier that is coming in. We wanted to make sure that there is which, by the way, is scheduled to come beginning December 1st. It's our intent to have a major marketing plan with some of the large users that now would see this as a qualifying service because of the twin jet engine aircraft and its size. The airline itself has done some market research and feels that next year we won't have any difficulty meeting the 10,000 employments, and I think we'll far exceed that if our marketing plan comes into place. We've been working with the Visitor Bureau, city promotional staff, as well as airport staff, and we're coming up with a pretty aggressive plan that I think you'll be pleased with. That's all I have to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Excited to hear more about the time. All right, next for our report from the city clerk.
Yes, Mayor. I would like to follow up on the city manager's report on what the city has done for recruiting new recruits for the police. I do believe that their efforts are working because in March we had 20 applicants. In June we had 24, and then for this test coming up on October 5th, we've already had 35 applicants reach out to us, and we still have a few weeks left, so I think that might be working, and so thank you. And then I also wanted to follow up on Interim Chief Limley's report tonight about the firefighter open house and entry-level exams. If you go to our website at morgantownwp.gov and then hover over departments, you can go to the fire department page, and there is a way to apply online, and that is a lights out process that our communications department has just created for us, so folks can pay online and apply online, and they immediately receive feedback, a response back that they have completed their application, and then the clerk's office will reach out to them and get them started. So we've already had some folks apply, so that's good. So anyway, and then I also wanted to share that our communications department, we're working with them to provide education to our residents. So our wonderful new director has already provided kind of like a media blast, I guess, if you will, on proclamations to share with our residents how you would go about requesting a proclamation. And so that has been pushed out on our Facebook page. I'm not sure if y'all have had an opportunity to look at that, but if you just search City of Morgantown on our Facebook page, you'll see that. So it's very educational, and I believe that he is going to continue to do things like that for us to educate our residents on maybe processes that we do here in the city, or and not just with the clerk's office, but other departments. So kudos to him and his team. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. And our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. At Council's special meeting on August 20th, you all considered several amendments to the charter. We are working on putting those in ordinance form for Council's consideration. Planning to have those on your September committee of the whole for your first consideration and action. But there are, I think there were 7 amendments moved forward by Council at that special meeting, and some of them do need to be coordinated or reviewed anyway, so the language is consistent throughout. So we'll hope to have those for you then. Discuss this briefly, but as the utility board Cheat Lake project moves forward, you have the third reading of the bond ordinance at your October 1st regular meeting. I believe their expectation is they'll have bids in hand Monday, and then we'll have enough specifics to provide the proposed rates for a rate ordinance that would come before council on October 1st and then October 15th. The City Council also previously adopted a reimbursement resolution for a forthcoming proposal by Bopark to issue Building Commission lease revenue bonds to fund a project improving Lower Marilla Park. The bond ordinance, the authorizing ordinance to fund that project, I believe is now scheduled to come before council at your September committee of the whole meeting as well, and be available for your adoption in October. And that is all I have to report this evening.
Thank you. Report from the council. Would you like to start us off?
Sure.
All right.
Very little to report, but very interesting. The South Park Association of Neighbors will have a block party this Friday. It's their 34th annual block party. You are all invited. It's at Eaton Park, which is at the corner of Park Street and Morris. And
not the restaurant.
Not the restaurant. You can bring your smiley face, though.
Time?
And the time is 5:30 to 8:30. John Gaddis will be our DJ, and Mr. Twister will be there for face painting for kids and making balloons for anybody else who wants one. And that's the end of my report.
I don't have anything to report for the third ward.
All right. Going to read this from our neighborhood association president. He says, "Greetings, neighbors. Reminder that the Suncrest Neighborhood Association meets this Thursday, September 19th, to discuss a community garden proposal, a neighborhood welcome sign, and the Citizens Police Advisory Board. It starts at 7 p.m. at the St. Paul Lutheran Church at 309 Baldwin Street. Everyone's invited, but particularly those in the Suncrest neighborhood." And that could be the end of my report as well.
Here you go, Mayor.
Please.
I think everything pretty much that I was going to cover from the Morgantown Utility Board has been covered. The goal is that the bids will be opened for the cost of the construction on the September 24th, so that the actual cost can come to us in terms of what that will need to be on our first meeting in October 1st. And we had a great South Hills 6th Ward neighborhood party Sunday. Glad a few of you could make it. Councilor Queckie and Michaels was there, and it was a great turnout, good time, always is. And lastly, the bridge over the Mon River to connect the Morgantown Industrial Park, that was awarded to Triton Construction. And so the Monrail Trail Conservancy has been in discussion, just started, with what their access needs to be to start the construction on that. And it's actually very significant. The DOH anticipated that the construction could be from both the river and the hillside, above the rail trail and below Smith, is it, Ken? Remember that 73 or 119, the first road above the rail trail right there? 73. And it's too much of a landslide hazard, so a lot of the building needs to be done from staging on the rail trail. So we're trying to work out what that would look like from a trail closure standpoint and logistics and all. So more to come on that. And those were the items I have. That's all.
Councilor Trumbull.
I will have no report this evening. Thank you for accommodating my illness and allowing me to participate virtually. I do not have COVID, but trust me, whatever it is, you all did not have any interest in catching it.
Whatever that is going around the schools as well. So I'm glad you could still make it. I'm glad you're feeling well enough to be on camera. Let's see, my report. We have our neighborhood meeting next Monday, 6 p.m. at Jack Roberts Park. It's important to note, originally it was MTech. Now it's been moved to Jack Roberts Park since it's still been nice enough outside to have it there. I would also like to remind everyone to please have your dog on a leash. The weather is nice. I understand your dogs are very friendly. Still, please have them on a leash. We also have 2 wonderful dog parks available here in town where they can run. Maybe we can get more, I don't know. Thank you to the communications department. I appreciated the information on the proclamations. I get questions about that, so that was wonderful to see. Thank you to the Council of International Programs for letting me come and read their proclamation. My dad was once an international student, and I told them that story about the program that he was a part of in South Dakota as a foreign exchange student and living with a host family, in which he ended up with the host family, marrying the host family's daughter, and that's why I'm here. And last, on Sunday, I'm supposed to be meeting with our city ambassador, Cam, who is trying to put together a program with our high school students for volunteer hours to do his own version of community cleanups. So hopefully we'll be able to do that this week. And outside of that, if I could have, that's my report, so if I could have a motion.
Move to adjourn.
No.
No. Motion to go into executive session pursuant to West Virginia
Move to
State
adjourn.
Code Section 6. You didn't get a second or anything.
For a third time.
6-9A, 4B9 to discuss acquisition or development of property in the downtown district, and also pursuant to West Virginia Code Section 6-9A, 4B12 to discuss matters protected by attorney-client privilege.
Oh, heck, second.
Executive session.
Sorry, Bill.